What's up, friends? Welcome back to Rooted Wisconsin, where we are dedicated to authentically sharing the stories of the people that make Wisconsin a fantastic place to be, driving Wisconsin culture. Back for another week, and to start off the show the same way we always do, thanking you. Thank you for your likes, shares, subscribes, engaging with us on social media, our content there, saying hi when we're out and about in the community. I appreciate all of it, and we make it for you. So thanks for being there. Getting ready for another episode. Couple things to get out of the way, of course. First, Rooted Wisconsin brought to you by Riverside Pizzeria. Best pizza in Wisconsin. Got to stop in and check it out. I learned a kind of a new trick from Ryan the other day. The special of the month, I kind of asked him what the specials were coming up to talk about. The number of the pizza is the number of the month. That's the one that the special's on. So if you head in July, the number 7, I think is... it's mushrooms and maybe pepperoni. Can't remember, but stop in and check it out. Riverside Pizzeria. Big news for the summer. They're open for lunch. So grab yourself one of those, and Riverside Pizza probably coming to a community near you sometime in the near future. So a big shout out to them. Also, big shout out to Wonder Sign of Green Bay. We got some new Rooted Wisconsin merchandise from the great folks over at Wonder Sign. Check them out if you need anything made. Hats, t-shirts, jerseys, that type of thing. Some new decals coming on the vehicle soon, too. So when you see the Rooted Wisconsin stickers, make sure you beep on the way. And shout out to our friends at Discover Green Bay for the studio space. As we get Rooted Wisconsin started, I think that's the house cleaning, getting that out of the way. And that brings us to our guest, Paul Coot Williams. Thanks for coming in, Coot.
I love pizza because I love mushrooms because I'm a fun guy. Get it okay?
Nice. I love mushrooms, too.
All right.
Love eating mushrooms. Is that you get into foraging mushrooms at all?
No, I've never done that. No.
I don't know how to find them, but I like people that do, because then I eat them.
Yep. How true.
Yeah. Well, man, I'm excited to chat a little bit. I appreciate you making the drive up from Oshkosh, right?
Yes.
It's kind of the local residents there, and I love talking fishing. So excited to chat. And, you probably get it often, but once when someone has social media content and stuff that does as well as yours does, you probably get a lot of people that come up and feel like they know you already, right?
Oh, yeah, a lot of people. Especially, I'm down in Florida. I'm filling up gas in my buddy's boat, Keith Cavias, and I got my green shirt on. And somebody yells out, "Hey, Coot, I watch all your TikToks." Oh, okay, thanks. But I got to give a shout out to my son, Aaron Williams. He's the one that does all my social media. We're pretty much on every platform. And he's gotten so good, he started his own Williams Watch Media system. So he'll help you with your social media also. So we got to give him a shout out.
Yeah, he does a heck of a job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that's built your brand immensely. Where does it? I'm sure we'll talk a lot about that. Where does it start, though? Fishing probably starts a long time ago for you.
Yeah,
right?
I started Coot's Lures back in 2004.
Okay.
I came up with a kit system, and with this kit had 19 pieces in it. It was all interchangeable. Totally different, nothing out there like it. But with this kit, it came with 6 flutter spoons, 2 different sizes, 6 spinner blades, 2 different sizes, hook harnesses, bead assemblies. And with this kit, you could build over 1,000 lures in your boat. That was so unique about it. And it was only $15. Instead of spending all this money for other stuff that you had to put together and all that kind of stuff. And we did very well. Then it just progressed. I like tweaking things. I see a product and I'll tweak it, or I come up with my own design. That's why I run with it. My dad always taught me, he says, never criticize another man's work unless you can do it better. Well, that's what I've been doing. I've been making better products, better quality, and better pricing for people. I want people using my stuff out there. And it's been going very good.
Yeah.
So it's got to be a compliment to me. I've had people copy my lures already and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. That's a great adage, man. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Never criticize another man's work that you can't do better.
Yep. So
I
live by that.
Yeah. So 2004, 20-year anniversary this year.
Yep, that's why we've been giving shirts away. We're doing a lure naming contest on my Rattling Wasp, and that's been phenomenal. Like, wow. So we got 2 more weeks of lures, colors to choose from and all that.
Yeah. So when that happened, when you started doing that and opened the business, were you working a different type of career?
Yeah, I was a rapid oxidation suppression technician.
That's a lot of words there.
That's a firefighter.
Okay.
I was working for the city of Appleton. I put in 28 years there.
Okay.
And my first job was in Jackson, Michigan. I had 13 months over there, so a total of 29 years in the pension system I have.
Okay.
So I've been retired 7 years now and loving every day of it.
Oh, so you stayed working quite a while after you started.
56, I retired.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, so you were doing the dual thing, Coots Lures and firefighter for a long time.
Like I said, I have more time than money, and I had time at the firehouse to think of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
Nice. So then, are you from Wisconsin?
Yes, I'm originally from Oshkosh.
Okay, nice. Well, that's nice, because that doesn't always work out for all firefighters, right, to come back and...
Right. Well, like I said, my first job was in Jackson, Michigan. We were 80 miles west of Detroit, and... I had 13 months there. I had 32 structure fires. I pulled 4 bodies out, stabbing, shootings, drug overdoses, crack houses. Like, wow, what did I get myself into? And they were less than 40,000 population.
All in 13 months.
Yeah. So when I came to Appleton, I was going through the interview, and I didn't get halfway through, and they said, "You're hired.
Yeah.
You have enough experience for what we need." So it's okay, cool. That's nice. Come back hometown, you know. So
yeah. Man, that many years, you got to have some wild stories of stuff that happened in there.
There's more stuff that I can tell you we don't want to hear.
I bet.
Yeah. So that's why I love the fish. I love taking people out fishing. I'm not a guide. Okay. I'm not a guide. I just take my friends out. We have a good time. This past year, I was in 6 weeks of Lake Erie fishing from April 21st through June 1st. And I bring out friends that have never been there, all virgins, and they get to experience the Lake Erie walleye system. So I had 42 days there, 25 days of fishing, 5 blow days. Out of the 25 days, we had 485 walleyes. So everybody had their limit of 36 fish. That's 6 fish per day. So they were there for 6 days. So they got home with the limit.
Nice.
It was fun.
I was going to ask you that because we texted a while back about getting you on the show, and we didn't match up our schedules before you were gone. And then you said you were at Erie for that long. So I just assumed you were guiding, but you're just taking out your buddies down there?
Yep. That's all I do is rent a house over there. And every week there's a different group of guys come out with their boats. So we have 2 boats. I tell everyone if it's 15 miles an hour or more, we don't go out there because it's too rough, because we're boating 4 to 8 miles each time. And it gets rough out there. And it's not fun to fish in that rough stuff. Get wet and get bounced around, but if breaking equipment, I don't need to do that. You know, boat, break out another 1,000.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. I mean, that's got to be a way to, we do it for creating connections, right? With people. That's got to be a great way to, just a month and a half of just kind of deepening those with people in your circle.
Creating memories is what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. When did you start going down to Erie?
Oh, I would say about 2000. And that's when I was starting kind of play around with worm harnesses and how I designed different things. And we were out there, and the charter captain where we were staying, he couldn't believe I was kicking his butt every day. So I had to show him how I was doing it and where I was doing it and all that kind of stuff. So I kind of turned his head and got him started on how I do stuff. And then I had a friend said, "You need to start coming out with your own stuff." I said, "Well, I'm not going to win any tournaments, but maybe I can sell some stuff. So let's go that route." So that's what I've done. So.
Okay. Yeah, I've never been down there to fish, but I know a few people that do. How would you describe the difference there between fishing Lake Michigan and Lake Erie?
Well, Michigan, you're talking salmon or walleye?
Walleyes.
Okay, really not too much on Michigan, but the Bay of Green Bay, that's totally different. Yep, they're big fish there. It seems like they're down in numbers right now because the alewife were spawning in the Bay of Green Bay. So a lot of guides were coming from Green Bay going to Winnebago to take their clients out because they could catch fish there. The fish bite's been slow up there. It's like, okay, we eat at McDonald's. We're going to go a mile down the road. You're going to stop at Hardee's and eat again? I don't think so. These fish are full. So they're not going to chase your lure. So to compare Green Bay and Erie, I would say Erie's a lot easier catching fish because they seem so dumb. I call it dumb fishing. Whatever you put out, they bite it. Up here, you got to know your areas of fishing and how you want to tactically catch your fish up here. Mm-hmm. So it's a little bit more challenging.
Yeah. It's kind of nice when fishing turns to catching sometimes, though.
Yes, catching is fun. My wife only wants to go catching, not fishing.
Yeah. All right. So it's Coots Lure started with that set
Yep.
there you had. How did it how did it grow then? What happens next? Because that's one thing, and a lot of people see that, right? Especially in the product sector where you'll have success with one thing and then some people have a hard time branching out and growing. And it doesn't seem like you have. You got a bunch of stuff and it's grown for years.
It seems like the more time I spent on water, the more things I thought of and how I could make it better. And when I came out with the kits, I approached Keith Cavias and Gary Parsons, the two top walleye guys, and super, super nice guys. Oh yeah, we'll take on your kit and we'll give it a try. Like that, I had signed a contract, and if I made over $100,000, I had to give them some money. $100,000, I'm gonna be lucky if I make $10,000. Yeah, so we kind of grew our friendships through there. Then in 2007, we're up at Bay de Noc, and we're trolling with my harness kits, and I came out with a rattling worm harness. So Keith took a look at that, and he actually took 4th place using my rattling worm harness, which has never been out there, a rattling system like this, and I was happy that he took 4th. So the next year, I'm with Gary up there, and we're pulling harnesses. We can't catch nothing. He says, let's go to crankbaits. I said, okay, we'll go to cranks. So he gives me big reef runners. I take the back treble hook off. I take my hook harness and I attach it to the bait. So this bait's about this long. He's looking at me, what the hell is that? I said, well, this is a little trick I do in Winnebago with shad wraps. I put this hook harness on it with a full crawler and all that. Okay, send it out there. So I sent it out there. No more than 10 minutes. We got a 12-pound walleye. That's the biggest fish I ever seen in my life in a walleye. He looked at it and he says, holy moly. By the end of the day, we had 6 walleyes over 60 pounds. I went, okay, so we get back to the launch. Gary tells Keith what we did and all that kind of stuff. I had to make more hook harnesses for for Keith and Chase. All 3 cash checks. Gary should have won the tournament, but he couldn't catch a small fish, the slot fish. He caught everything from 8 to 10 pounds. He took like 5th place because he couldn't catch a small fish. So that's what kind of branched me out with these guys, and I pre-fish with them and have a great time with them. I clean their boats, I clean their windshields, I clean their, just because I'm in their little circle, which is crazy. It's hard to get hold of this kind of stuff, and here I'm in fishing with the best of the best and learning from them, and maybe I taught them some tricks too, So that was cool.
Yeah.
So then in, I think it was 2008, I'm out in South Dakota at Mobridge, and out there they like to troll in the trees. The trees are submerged, and they use a lot of crankbaits. Well, I can't afford all these crankbaits that everybody's losing in the wood. So Chase taught me how to pull slow death. It's this crooked little hook that you put a full crawler on it, and you break it off a little bit, and it corkscrews through the water. It just drives these fish nuts. So I'm thinking, how can I run this through the woods without getting hooked up and add a little flash? So I thought, well, try flutter spoons. Flutter spoons are very lightweight. They're not like a casting spoons. Casting spoons are heavy, so you can cast far. Flutter spoons just kind of dodge back and forth. So I put on a slow death hook on with about a 2-inch leader. And this thing's going through the woods, it's bouncing off, and I'm catching fish. This is cool. I'm not losing nothing, and I'm catching fish. So I was out there actually for the NTC tournament, National Walleye Tournament, and I didn't really place, but I figured out, hey, I got a new bait here. So let's try this. So I bring it back to Winnebago, and I'm showing a couple of guys out here about it. It's working really good. And at this time, I met Tommy Harris. He has spinner blades that have spider webs on it. Really cool. He's really had a good painting system and all that kind of stuff. I says, Tommy, here's something I think you can do for me. I just want the name of it because I designed it. I said, I'll let you run with it because you have the money to get the materials made and all that kind of stuff. He said, okay. And he called it the Spoon DeVille. I was going to call it the Death Spoon, but nah, he didn't want that. But okay, Spoon DeVille, and he did very well for a lot of years. So the only credit I got is I designed it. So, but I still use that today, and it's just this weekend or this past weekend I did not real well in the tournament, but we had a good time out there.
Yeah.
So.
That's awesome. You mentioned Bay de Noc. My best day walleye fishing ever was on Little Bay de Noc ice fishing. Mm-hmm. We had a day we caught 4 over 30. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's
fun.
A crazy fishery.
Wish pulling those fish through the hole like that.
Yeah.
A big thump.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was one of those things that happened by happenstance. A buddy of mine I hadn't seen in a few years just happened to be driving through. I was living up north, and he said, "Want to hop in on a Sunday?" And I luckily didn't have anything going on, so
Very good.
popped up with him. That's a great fishery. That's awesome. So it seems like we were talking earlier before you started about just being handy in general. It kind of sounds like that's kind of where your business started, just wanting to solve problems, right?
Well, growing up in high school, my mom told me I needed a trade. When I was in high school, I fell in love with metalworking and woodworking. My dad was a woodworking type of guy and all that hands-on, and I'm a hands-on type of guy also. I love building stuff and fabricating stuff. So as I came out of high school, I was in a co-op program at Arrowhead Conveyor in Oshkosh. So there I learned about milling, lathes, welding, all that kind of stuff. So my first job out of high school was at Metal Fabricators. So I was hired as a welder. Within the 3 years there, I pretty much knew every position in that fab shop, so I could build anything I wanted to if I had to. I actually brought a friend's Bronco in there and built him a new tailgate for it.
Nice.
So the owner was super nice. He says, whatever your material you use, you just pay for it, and that's all I want. So, but my welding skills really helped me through life, because at the firehouse, I was one of the shift mechanics, so I could pretty much fix anything that broke down if I had to fix it and all that kind of stuff. So that was an asset that I had, which was awesome. And the rod god that I built out of aluminum is worldwide known now. It's a rod system that holds 8 rods on a tree in the bow of my boat. It looks like a praying mantis coming through the water. It's just unbelievable. I'll have to show you a picture of that one.
I think I've seen some on your social media.
Yeah.
I've just noticed it in the background. So that's what that is. So
Yep.
those are rod holders up there.
Yes, it's all out of aluminum, and it goes into the pedestal hole, and I can also put my seat on top of it. So who's ever up next for fish sits in that crow's nest, and they grab the rod when the fish goes.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so what it really does, it opens up the whole back of the boat so I can net that fish anywhere else. But I can also, if I got 4 people in a boat, I can troll with 12 rods. I have 4 downsticks, then I got 8 boards, 4 on each side.
Fascinating.
Everybody says, don't you have a mess? No. I've been doing this. I know what I'm doing. It works great.
Right.
You know, I'm trying to cover every aspect of that water column to catch these fish.
Yep.
Some are deep, some are going to be high, some are going to be mid-range. Some want this type of bait, some want that bait. That's what I'm trying to do, is figure it out quicker.
Yeah, and I mean, law of averages, you have different presentations at different depths.
Yep. And that first year, 2 years ago, when I was in Lake Erie for 6 weeks, I had like 25 people contact me, want me to build that thing. I says, this is a one and done thing. I'm sorry, but I don't have aluminum welder at my house. I'm retired from that kind of business and all that. So I was very appreciative that the company I was working part-time let me build it out of scrap materials and all that. It did break this year, so I took it back up, and this is what they beefed it up big time for me now. So I thank them very much.
Nice. Yeah, well, I mean, it's nice to be at that point, right? There's probably a time when, you know, if someone asks for something like that, your entrepreneur mind starts turning. You say, okay, I can make money on this too, you know?
Well, I'm to the point where I wish I didn't know a damn thing anymore. Mm-hmm. You know, I just want to go fishing. I don't want to build stuff anymore for people or fix things, you know, but it is what it is. I'm a friendly guy. I try to help out whoever I can.
Yeah. So then most of the stuff you made over the years, you probably like handmade the first prototypes then, right?
Yes. The Firefly is the planer board light I designed that goes on your planer boards for fishing at night. So this is how the story evolved. I'm with Paul Grawl, the owner of HT, and I set up his salmon boat so we could go salmon fishing. So we were using this product, and I stepped on one and I broke it. I said, I'm going to have to come up with something better than this. And Paul said, well, how would you do it? So I described how I was going to do it. He says, I'll get that done for you, because he has all his connections in China and all that kind of stuff. So I came back from that, and I started whittling it out of wood, how it would fit on the flag of the planer board. And I gave it to him. He says, this is going to look nice. So we actually got it made. It's called the Firefly light. It's got a lithium battery. It's got LED lights. It floats, which is pretty cool, because if you drop it in, you can see it. And then it's an accessory, because now I can take it on and off the flag if I don't want it on there. A lot of these light systems, you have to fix it onto the board. So it's always there. And you got to have tools requiring. I kind of made it so you didn't have to have a tool. It just slides on that post and pulls right back off.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the worst thing on batteries? Cold.
Mm-hmm.
So I tested the battery. I put it in my freezer on. 52 days it lasted on. So that gave me a great indicator, like, this is a good battery. We need to use this battery. So I said 200 hours plus on the packaging.
Yep.
So now I got guys using them for ice fishing, for tip-ups.
That's what I was thinking the whole time. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
because, I mean, for a while they've gotten better now, but back in the day, I mean, tip-up lights, they broke all the time, and half the time they wouldn't work when you got them on and stuff.
The only, I don't want to say disadvantage, but it's on all the time. The guy said, well, I can see it. I says, build a snowbank so you can't see it. On the other side, in case there's snowmobilers out there, they can see that light,
Mm-hmm.
which a lot of them are mercury activated. It only works when it goes up. So if it's down like this, it's black. You can't see it if you're out snowmobiling.
Yep.
But mine, you'll see it because it's on all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's it. That's easy enough. Like you said, build a thing that you can't see it from wherever your home base is, where you're
Right.
sitting.
And if it's either this way, you know it's not a fish. If it's like this, it's a fish,
Yeah.
right? Tip
Yeah.
up.
It'll be moving a little bit more too.
Yeah.
Is that something you do very much? You get into ice fishing very much at all?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Last year, terrible. You know that. There was no ice.
There wasn't any.
I think I got out 2 days. One was on the port of Milwaukee. We caught some big browns, so it was a lot of great footage there. Then the next day, we ended up on a private lake. That was cool. And Aaron says, well, we get to get some big fish here. I said, yeah, but we're going to release them because it's a private lake.
Mm-hmm.
I says, we'll just be lucky that we're out here having fun, catching fish. You know, I caught a big crappie, a big bluegill, all that. It was another great day of footage we had out there. So,
Yeah. How was that? Was it something you were always comfortable with, being in front of the camera? Or how did you start doing the social media thing? Was it his idea?
I think I don't know how we actually started. Well, probably in COVID, you know, and everybody couldn't go anywhere. We were doing the dance things were going on.
Yeah.
So we did some dumb things like that and just got notoriety. And then I started putting out Coot's tips and tricks on different things, like kind of talking in front of that. Once in a while, I'll get in front of the camera and talk about how I design things, how I build things and all that. That's what people like to see. You know, I don't mind telling people I want them catching fish, because when you're out there not catching fish, it's not fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's got to be fun.
Yeah. So, I mean, one that I saw, I think a couple times now you've done it, just you zipping up a walleye, and they do really well.
It's amazing how many keyboard warriors are out there.
Oh, good.
You know, this is my way of cleaning fish. That's fine. But if you want to show me a better technique, please show me the video. I'd love to learn, but they never send it back.
Yeah. That's one of the keys of social media, man. You make that great content that people want to see, and then you just don't click the comment button.
Right.
Just don't click into there.
Right. Yeah. And the biggest thing I can tell people, I will help you if you have a small business. First, you got to follow me. I'll follow you. You scratch my back, I'm going to scratch yours. Use the heart, never the thumbs up. If you use the heart and share it, it changes the algorithms. This is how we've grown Coot's Lures. It's been crazy. And I just did a thing with my daughter last week. She started Nexus Networking. So she brought in 60 businesses, and I told them the platform I'm on, and they've already seen results in a week by using Coot's Lures, liking and sharing.
Really?
Yes, it's been phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, when you get reach like that, you're kind of the puppet master.
Seems
you can
like
turn
it.
it in.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I'll give you a story. Last year, a guy came in. It's called the Docket Launcher System. It's a bungee cord system for your boat when you want to launch your boat by yourself. I says, well, first I got to see this thing and show me how it works. So he sets it all up on my boat. And I said, yeah, I think I could try this out. So I did a video for him. So I put it out there. It went berserk within a week. He calls him up. He says, what the hell did you do? I says, what do you mean? I just did a video. I am getting orders like crazy. I says, really? I says, okay, let's try this. Let's use promo Coot on your site. And when they come from my site, you'll know that when they use promo Coot. He says, I've sold more in a month and a half than the 12 guys did the previous year. And I'm still the top salesman. I only did one video. But, you know, and I says, you know what? He says, what do you want? I says, I don't need nothing. I says, you help me, I help you. That's all it's all about.
Yeah.
So he's been doing very good. Docket Launcher System.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. So that part kind of just, once the cameras were around, it just something you're comfortable with. And
I don't know. It's like talking to you and me right now.
right. Yeah.
It's nothing special.
Yeah.
So
That's awesome, man. Yeah, some people don't have that. Some people we've had guests on the podcast again, they see the couple cameras around and the lights and stuff and get a little nervous and everything, but it's still just a conversation.
I guess I can look back at my training that I had at the fire department where we would do public service speaking and engagements with the kids and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know, it just felt natural talking to these kids. It's something, if you really know what you're talking about, there's no BS about it. It's just straightforward, and this is how it is, and that's how we do it.
Yeah, and I think that's why, outside of knowing how to get the content and where, I think that's why people eat up your stuff, just because it's real. That's what we shoot for here too, just, real conversation about real things, and then when it comes from a genuine spot, it wins,
Yeah, my last funny video, again, is my bug spray thing. I learned this from a friend of mine. Lemon Joy and water. It keeps biting flies off your legs. So I did this, this is the second one that's taken off. So I do the video and I spray my legs and all that kind of stuff. I said, there, I'm half lathered up for my shower tonight and I don't have biting flies biting me. So try the Lemon Joy and water trick. It works great. And it just takes off again. Nice. Unbelievable.
What's Lemon Joy? I don't even know what that is.
Just soap.
Okay.
Yeah, just soap.
And it has to be that brand?
It seems only that lemon, something in the lemon probably doesn't like, the flies don't like it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah. And the other ones we have, you think are stupid. Drilling holes in the ice, no talking. Pulling slush out of a hole, ice fishing, no talking. Taking a drill bit, going into the ice and all that kind of stuff. We got 65 viral videos already on stuff like that. So I had a guy called me up. He says, thank you for doing them videos. I says, which video? He says, well, the ice scooping and the drilling and all. I says, why is that? He says, I have an autistic son, and he just loves watching it. He's memorized by the sound and the video of it. I says, really? Well, now I'm helping people out that way, I guess. Mm-hmm. So that was very cool that he called and talked about it.
Yeah, ASMR content, they call it. And it's strange. And I think that's what it goes back to for most people. Like there's something like comforting or relaxing. Mm-hmm. That's kind of nice in the world of social media because it's not always that.
Yeah. White noise.
Yeah. 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 So what did it do? Has it made a huge impact on your business?
I would have to say yes, because if I wasn't out there all the time, having the algorithm so high, they're seeing me, they're seeing my products, seeing me, especially using the products. And I talk about it all the time and all that. And my last one was my trolling rods, and that's been phenomenal. I've sold 3,400 rods in 4 years.
Dang.
My Magnetco is taking off again. Last year, 3,000 pieces went again. It's just a 4-pound magnet that I put on my landing net, so when you net the fish, the magnets release and the fish falls on the basket so you don't miss it. The biggest thing about the Magnetco, it holds your net in one position until you get to the fish. And salmon people love it because they got very deep nets. And it's only a $14 item.
Holds your net in one position. How does it work?
It's a magnet.
Okay.
So it's two pieces. So one piece goes on the net and the other one goes on the shaft. Put the magnets together, it holds this basket up. Okay. So when it breaks the magnet pole.
Gotcha. Okay.
It took me about 2 years to figure out how I wanted to do it properly and make it quick and easy for people and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
The Magnetco.
Makes it a little streamlined to put in the water too,
Yep.
right? That you can get a cleaner swoop.
Yep.
Okay.
And also I made it on MTV with the Magnetco.
Really?
I was on Ridiculous. So we're in Lake Erie a couple years ago, and I'm filming because this is the funny part. I like videotaping people in my boat because sometimes they have no clue what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I try to show them the proper way and all that. So he goes down with the net. He's scooping with that net, and he breaks the net. God damn, you broke my net. And they put this on MTV, and they're yelling at me for yelling at him. I thought, oh, great. Yeah, just funny stuff like that.
It was on Ridiculousness?
Yep.
I used to watch that show religiously.
Yep.
That's great.
Yep.
What a cool idea. That reminds me. So I like to trout fish, and that reminds me of my trout net, just on a magnet in my back.
Sure.
scoop them and put them
Yeah.
back. But yeah, that makes so much sense.
Mhm.
And that's funny to think about, man. Like something that easy. It just takes a guy to think about to make things a little easier.
What I always think about is that stupid thing that you threw against the wall and it's stuck and it just climbed down the wall.
Yeah.
Some sticky thing like that. Like, why did I come up with something like that?
Yeah.
I have other inventions people laugh at too. Like my wife says, that'll never go. I even tried out for Shark Tank one year with my fireflies.
Did you really?
Yeah, went down to Milwaukee, did the interview and all that, and the lady says, "What's a planer board?" Well, I'm not selling the planer board. I'm selling the Firefly planer board lights.
Yeah.
They had no clue what I was trying to do. So
Okay.
I know I got a niche market. It's small. I knew it wasn't going to, I was hoping the guy that loves fishing on there, not Kevin. I can't remember his name again. But anyways, it was quite an experience waiting in 3 hours in line.
Yeah.
I got to meet another guy that's in the ice fishing called the Sullivan tip down system. Met him, so we're still friends today. So
The tip downs that people use for perch, those things or something
no,
else?
those are well, yeah, it's a tip down, but it's a manual one. His are automatic. If you want STDs, go to him. That's his claim to
Sullivan
fame.
tip downs?
Yeah, Sullivan tip downs, yep.
Nice. Yeah, so did you actually get in front of the people?
Oh yeah.
You did?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, I even tried out for deal or no deal in Green Bay one year.
Okay.
So I went into the booth and I did every animal call I could. I never said a word. I got to the next phase. So the next phase, I said, now what the hell do I do? Do I top that or what? So I went and talked about something stupid and didn't make it then. I should have stuck with all the animal calls.
Just the animal calls.
Because they're looking for weird and eccentric people. That's
Yep.
what they want, you know?
Things that'll keep eyes.
Mhm.
Yeah. There's that dude. There's a guy who did massive viral videos on social media just doing all the turkey calls with just his mouth. So like everything a turkey, like a crow call.
Like that?
Yeah. Man, that's
I love doing that in Fleet Farm. Man, there's a turkey in here. You know, it's just hilarious.
oh.
I used to have a pet turkey, Bob. He would. We had like 5 turkeys at one time, and I'd go in to feed them. The other ones would want to peck at me and all that. So Bob would actually push them away. So he was kind of like friending me. So the other ones got butchered and kept Bob for a pet. So I actually took him to elementary schools when my kids were going to school. He'd walk up and on that aisle. He'd strut and flut, and oh my God, it was just hilarious. He'd gobble for the kids. He'd let them pet him. It's just hilarious, you know. And I come back home from one day of a tournament, and he died. I went, oh, that was sad.
Yeah.
I miss Bob.
Yeah. What a wild. Did he walk on a leash? Or
No,
he
didn't
just
no
walk-
leash.
He
I
just walked next to you?
Yep, he just walked next to me. It's just hilarious.
And you just bring him to school?
Yep.
Oh, man.
I wish we had phone videos back then to have that. I got a couple videos. I should try to dig those out and put them out. You know, You know, I actually won a solid gold plastic trophy on a cruise ship, doing all my talent calls.
Really?
Yeah, solid gold plastic trophy.
Gold plated.
I said, I don't know anybody here. 3,000 people. I don't give a shit. I'll go up there and talk to them. You know.
Yep. So where did the nickname come from? I'm assuming it's the bird, right?
Yep, the mud hen, Coot.
Yep.
Back in, I was born and raised pretty much on mud hens. My dad hunted coots out in Oshkosh, and I think he told me I was 3 or 4 when he stuck me in the duck skiff.
Okay.
So I just sit there and watch, and he'd go bang bang and shoot them and all that kind of stuff. So at 14, I got my first gun, so I started hunting coots with my dad. And we ended up going to Buffalo Lake down by Endeavor, down by the Dells area. Back in 1975, the DNR estimated 3 million coots on this lake. Yeah, right. We go down there, and oh my God, it's just black. It's a solid mud hen. We hunted for 10 years down there shooting coots. And when my mom and dad had a pool, and we'd have a pool party in the summertime, my mom would make coots for everybody, and they would just die. I don't know if they either too drunk or didn't know what they were tasting or eating, but they ate them.
Yeah, because that's the thing. They're not supposed to taste that great, right?
Well, that's what I tell you. I said I'd rather have that than steak. If you take all the fat off, you keep the breasts, the legs, the hearts, and the gizzards. I love the hearts and gizzards. But you got to have all that fat off.
Yeah.
So Mom would cook it for about 3 hours in the oven, salt, pepper, onions, potatoes, carrots, celery. Then she would actually pan fry them in oil and margarine for a little bit to get them a little crispy.
Okay.
Oh,
She was reverse searing before it's cool.
Yeah, it was some good stuff.
Nice.
I tell people, I'll give you shells if you go shoot some for me, you know.
So it just came from doing that. Like, did your dad start calling you it, or?
No, my dad never called me Coot.
Okay.
It's always son or Paul.
Yeah.
But yeah, in high school it's Coot, Cooter, Coot man.
Okay.
So
nice.
That's all.
And then the shirts are a huge thing. I know you guys always wear them.
Yeah, it's amazing. A fat guy in a green shirt fishing. Crazy, you know. I can't help it. No, my son Aaron, he designed it. He says, we're going to get a logo. We need to brand you.
Yeah.
So he says, look at Nike with the swoosh. We're going to do the Coots apparel. So we started out with the green ones. Now we have the white ice ones. Now my wife just came out with the purple and pink ladies edition. So that's on order right now for us. So
nice.
We'll see where that goes.
I think I saw that on your website. You have your wife on the website as like the
model,
the apparel person.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. The model.
Hats, t-shirts, and jersey by Kathy.
Yep. That's awesome, man. Well, you gotta have some. I mean, that's just awesome stories. Just so many. We've all met people along our lives that have these ideas, right, and are good at something, but they don't take the leap to say, like, maybe other people want this. And I mean, you doing it repeatedly has made.
Well, to me, it's all connections.
Yeah.
Who you know. If it wasn't for Paul Grohl at HT, half this stuff wouldn't even be done for me. You know, and I was helping him with his farm, taking care of wood piles, and when he was gone, I would cut the grass for him, and as he was traveling, he helped me, so I helped him. That's what it was, the back scratching thing. That goes a long ways in my book.
Yeah. Is he from Wisconsin?
Yes, but 2012, him and his wife were killed in a car accident 2 weeks after we got back from China. So, yeah, I dearly miss him. So his two sons, Nate and Kenny, run the business, HT Enterprise out of Campbell Sport. They're pretty much, Paul was the godfather of ice fishing stuff. Yeah. He actually started with depth finders in his garage. And right now, HT is over 1,000 SKUs. Yeah. This is crazy how much stuff is down there. HT's got great products. They say, oh, that's cheap stuff and all that. But I hate to tell people, 99% of fishing stuff is made all overseas. There's nothing really made here in the United States. I wish I could have my stuff made here, but I can't afford the labor costs. That's what it is. So grin and bear it, I guess. Yeah.
I guess I never knew they were from Wisconsin. I've used HT stuff for years and years and years, but I guess I just never looked into it.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's where the headquarters, Campbell Sport.
Okay. So how did you cross paths with him first? If that was a changing moment,
actually, I met him at the Walleyes from Tomorrow banquet in Oshkosh. I was a chapter chairman or co-chair, and I see him donating a lot of stuff to our banquets. So I says to one of my friends, Wayne, he's an older gentleman's passed, but he let me meet Paul. So we went down to HT and talked to him for a long time, and I told him some of the visions that I had with my first product kit and all that. He said, I'll get that done for you. He never charged me a dime. He says, whatever profits you make, you're going to get it. Really. Just super, super nice person. Unbelievable. There's not too many people that kind of do that. No. So that's how we started our friendship. And then he says, yep, I'm going to take you to China. I'm going to pay for it all. He says, I want you to help me do the show over there. At the time, 2012, the Chinese wanted to actually fish for fun, not for food. So that's what we were trying to break into, is northern China and southern Mongolia and all that kind of stuff. And that's where I actually met a lure maker that I wanted to make my rattling wasp. So I hate to say it, but I took a Selma Hornet, which is a hot bait on Winnebago, and I kind of copied it, but I didn't. I changed certain things on it that I would not infringe on their patent and all that kind of stuff. And it took us probably about 2.5 years to get the right product out to get it. As soon as Selmo heard about it, he calls me up and he says, you copied my bait. I said, no, I didn't. I made it better. And he hung up on me. So like I said, I changed some things on there that I would not infringe on his patent. I don't believe in patents. Patents are very expensive. They're only good for 7 years. All you're doing, hate to say this, but all you're doing is paying lawyers to fight lawyers. I says, I'm taking all that profits. I'm going to flood the market. That's what I did. I flooded the market with all my products. And if everybody's going to copy me, they're way behind the 8 ball already.
Mm-hmm.
I've had people copy me, but it's a pat on my back that I did something right.
Yeah.
That's what I did.
Yeah, and generally a lot of those copies can't beat you a ton in price anyway if you're already competitive. So if you're the leader in the market, you're going to stay. You might get some knockoffs.
Yeah. And, I got documentation to show that somebody did copy me. That was done in 2004. This is 2012. You're a little late.
Yeah.
So
you don't have any patents. You never patented anything you got.
No.
That's an interesting way to look at it. I agree. I think in a lot of ways, like you spend a lot of money to do it, and then, like you said, the 7-year thing, and really,
it's done.
A lot of times it doesn't end up stopping people anyway. Because if you want to litigate something, you have to pay a bunch more anyway.
Yeah,
so
you can do patent pending. That's good for a year. It looks good on your product if you want to try doing it, but I don't know. It's just extra writing.
Yeah. Yeah, so it was called the Rattling Wasp?
Rattling Wasp,
Okay, tell me about that one a little bit.
It's a crankbait that I designed like a salmo, but salmos didn't have rattles. To me, noise is a thing for fish. They like sight, sound, scent, all that kind of stuff. So by putting rattles in there, it makes noise. And the way I designed it, the pitch would dive better and deeper. And by doing that, if you hit bottom or a log or something, it'll pop up. It won't get snagged. So that was the other thing that made it intriguing. So I came up with 2 sizes, number 4s and 5s. I had 20 colors to start out with. Now I'm at 24 colors, or standard. Now we're branching out into painters. So if you paint lures, you're good. I will give you a wasp and paint it a certain color. And now we're doing naming the wasp colors, which is cool, is we sell blanks. Blanks are hot. People love the chrome and the pearl whites because when they paint over that, it's got an iridescent look. It's really sharp and all that, but we're sold out of all those colors already. So I can't get a hold anymore to help any more painters out, but it's back to scratch my back, I scratch yours. I'm trying to, if you really love the paint, I'll get you bodies to paint and you can sell them then. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, and then get a pattern that your pattern is and then mark it up a few bucks. Everybody wins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice, man. Just so many.
Where to start again? Huh?
Yeah, so many different angles. I love it. Would you? It's got to be a busy brain, right? Coming up with all these ideas, you always got to be thinking about something.
Well, when you're sitting in a boat, not catching it, you got to think, how is this little brain outsmarting me today? How is it possible? I got all this stuff. My boat looks like Fleet Farm in the bottom of it. Yeah. Okay, what do we start with?
Yeah. What's are walleyes what you chase most frequently?
Yes, I'm a walleye guy.
Yeah.
I love catching perch when, the perch should be starting pretty soon in July and August here. So we'll probably just go out and have fun doing it. Everybody loves perch. It's good stuff.
So good to eat, and they're blast to catch. I mean, some of my fondest memories of early fishing are going out with my dad and grandpa perch fishing on the bay. Like, super fun, man. And of course, everybody loves eating perch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually had a guy called me up yesterday, and he wanted to buy some magnetos. I said, where are you located? He says, Winchester. I said, well, Critters has got some there. No, I want to come meet you. Oh, okay. Here's my address. So he comes out there, and he buys 2 magnetos. And I said, have you checked out my rods? He says, yeah. I checked them out. Critters are kind of neat. So I showed him, I talked to him about how he ends up buying one of my 7-foot rods, medium lights. He says, I got something to show you. I said, okay. So he goes out there. He makes his own perch baits, little jigs. I said, well, what do you need for a card of those? I'll buy the whole card right there. Oh, $20. Okay. So now I got some new perch baits to try out. So this is how it all moves around, gets around, stuff like that. If I can help him, I'll help him and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So what about the rods? What'd you do making rods?
Well, 5 years ago, he went to Kenny of HT. I said, I want to design my own trolling rod. The rods out there aren't suited for what I want to do. He says, okay. So we went through a bunch. I said, we're going to start with 8-foot telescopic, 8'6" telescopic. I'm shortening the butt up by 3 inches. I don't want it so long because they stick out in your boat a lot. I put 2 metal reel seats on it to make it stronger to hold bigger reels. No triggers. I hate triggers on trolling rods. There's no need for a trigger. That's for a bass rod. Then I had a triangular foregrip up front to hang on to it. That conforms right to your hand. It doesn't move at all. By having the back end where you thread your to make your reel seat stronger, that's on the back. They always put it up front. That's the worst place you can do it because what's happening, you're torquing it all the time. It loosens up.
Yep.
Then I went to a carbon fiber rod, and I also had stainless steel eyes instead of ceramics. The stainless steel holds up a lot better. So this rod, the 8-foot and 8-foot-6s, were retailing between $55 and $65, which is pretty cheap for a custom rod.
Yeah.
When you think about it, because everybody else is $75 and more, and I give a year warranty on it. If you break it on fish, I'll replace it. So
not on a tailgate though, right?
Well, one guy called me up. He says, well, the rod locker fell on it. I said, well, how's that my fault?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but he didn't break it on a fish.
Yeah.
So, but no, having my own rods now, I'm pretty much set for life for all this stuff. And if I die, my kid's got all my stuff, so he doesn't have to buy anything anymore.
Oh, man. You remember the banjo minnow back in the day?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
How about the pocket fisherman?
Oh, sounds familiar.
That little reel. It collapses up. It's in a little suitcase. Oh my God!
Ooh, I don't remember.
You got to
that
look
one.
that one up
No.
too. That was by Ronco.
Oh, the same guy with the food dehydrator.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it made me think about the banjo minnow when you talk about rattles. That was one of they had a pretty unique rattle thing, if I remember right. I can't remember if it was on the hook sometimes.
That guy made millions.
Oh, so much! Yeah, we bought it. I mean, we bought it in our house.
Look at the hype the guy had. He could hype it. You know, that's what I need. I need a hype man, I think.
Me too. Well, I think that's kind of, it seems like we come from the same camp of like that authenticity thing, right? Like if you do that, everything works out. Sometimes that hype stuff gets a little overboard for me, but it did get me to buy the banjo.
Right. Yep. Who was that guy that sold that Flex Seal? Oh, he's dead now.
Oh yeah. He would do the boat all the time. He would do the boat. Look at it floats. I don't think I ever thought I caught anything of substance on the banjo minnow except sheephead. Yeah. I caught a lot of sheephead on the banjo minnow.
We had 2 10-pounders Sunday in our tournament. Oh, I hate that. Especially walleye fishing.
10-pound sheephead?
Yeah.
Dang.
That's hard on the equipment. They just drag and drag and drag.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're hoping it's a big walleye, but it never is.
You ever eat one? You ever eat a sheephead? Yeah. Yes. Supposedly they're not too bad. I've never eaten one.
Normally, when I eat sheephead, I always helped the DNR back in the day when they did the trawling system out in Winnebago. And I always went in October because it was cooler. They always do August, September, and October. Well, August and September are hot out there. You're in rubber suits, not trying to get wet from the fish slime and all that kind of stuff. But that's why I went in October. It was cooler. So we collected all the sheephead, and they gave the sheephead to a guy on the east shore who has a mink farm. So he would feed his mink the sheephead. So that's how we were getting rid of them. But in October, we'd keep a bunch. The DNR guys would fillet them up, keep the top back strap, and then we'd have a fish fry for all the helpers that helped on the trawler that year, So that's where I learned a lot of knowledge out there, how they do the dragging system. They have 55 GPS points out there. They go to every spot for a 5-minute drag. They bring up the net. They dump all the fish in a container. We go through every fish that's in that container. All the game fish are measured, recorded, thrown back. Any sheephead are just discarded, goes into a trough, and it goes up to the front of the boat and all that kind of stuff. But you're counting grounders. You're counting, sometimes we get a sturgeon in there, big catfish, some big carp, that kind of stuff. But it's more or less kind of like a census of what's out in the lake in certain areas. So that's a great program the DNR has. I hope they never go away with it. That boat's kept in Calumet County for August, September, and October. So if you see that boat out there, that's what they're doing. They're dragging for 5 minutes in certain spots.
Interesting. So then they take the sheephead and they brought it to the mink farm. That's what you're saying?
The guy comes there and they just convey it up to his dump truck and dump it in there, and he just goes and grinds it up for the mink food.
Sure. And they're doing that as more of a census thing. That's not so much because you wonder if something like that can mitigate it, right? Because, invasive species like that, sheephead are native, right? Yep. They are native, yeah.
Back in the 60s, they actually had 3 trawlers out there trying to get rid of the sheephead. Never did. Yeah. That was crazy. It was a fillet of fish in Chicago.
Yeah. That's interesting. Man, is that something you get into? I mean, assuming big fisherman, do you get into some of that stuff around managing waters, taking care of all that, or?
Well, my adage is I take from the system. If I can help the system, I want to do that.
Yep.
So I was doing wallies for tomorrow banquets, trying to raise money for marshes, reefs, and all that. I actually spent 10 years of my life, 1 month out of the year, doing the sauger hatchery in Oshkosh. So the DNR says, well, we want to do a sauger hatchery program to see what's going on. They did a 5-year start. By the 3rd year, they went to 10 years. We had results in 3 years. They couldn't believe it. So my job was they'd give me I can't remember, tongue-tied here. For the sauger hatchery, they gave me a hatchery. So I had to design certain things in there to make the water flow through the eggs to bring them into fry. Then when they were fry, I had to hold them for 3 days. After the 3rd day, we had OTC them. That's a chemical that we let them soak in that would get into their bones. And within like 10 years, if you catch a sauger, they'd have to kill it to microscope underneath there to see if it was gold. If it was gold, that was our marking our fish. OTC is a cheap way of marking fish. If you had to raise a fish up to 6 inches, it costs $1. And then we'd fin clip them. Well, you can't do that with 1.2 million fish. Yeah. So that was our way of how we did it for 10 years, OTC marking the sauger. So now you're allowed to catch one sauger out there in Winnebago. I always tell everybody to tell the difference between a walleye and a sauger. You put a walleye on its belly, he'll fall over. You put a sauger on his belly, he'll stay right there. He has, like I tell, a bulldog mentality.
Like on the ground,
you saying? Yep. He'll flare his gills. He doesn't want to be touched, all that kind of stuff. You know, he's just like, I'm angry at you. You know, that kind of stuff. But and then saugers do have a white tip on it, like a walleye. But the biggest thing is when you lift up their dorsal fins, you'll see the black dots.
The dots, yeah.
Yes, that'll give it away. Plus the color is kind of brown and blackish when you're bringing them in from the water.
Yeah. Kind of like darker,
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I've had my son and daughter each catch a sauger now. I don't keep saugers in my boat. I spent too many years trying to bring them back for other people and all that. So it's fun when people call me up and tell me they caught a sauger. Saugers grow very, very slow. A 15-inch sauger is almost 14, 15 years old. Yeah, they grow very slow. They're a turbid fish. They like dirty water. Well, the water in Winnebago is cleared up now. They're saying it might go away. I hope it don't. In their sauger hatchery program, they also had $80,000 worth of rock dumped on the north end of Lake Waverly Beach area. So what we found out that all the structure that was out there is they lay their eggs in rocks up there. There was no structure, so the eggs would wash up on shore. So this is where we got the idea of dumping rocks into the lake. So when the saugers did hatch, they put their eggs into the crevices. That's how they would mature. Well, 3-4 years later, after I went up there videotaping with Kendall Kemke, one of the lead biologists from Oshkosh, and we saw all zebra mussels up there. We're like, oh my God, did we put all this rock in for nothing? I said, no, it's still structured with fish. You know, we do have sheephead and perch and sturgeons. They do eat the zebra mussels and all that kind of stuff, but the zebra mussels is just, out of control. Nothing we can do about it. It is what it is. You can wash your boat as much as you can. I try to clean it with my live well at least a couple times a month, bleach it out. Our biggest problem is the bunks. Your boat's sitting on the bunks, you can't really clean it. It just sits there, and I feel bad that I can't do nothing about it. Maybe that's my next invention, come up with some kind of a additive that it's in the wood or in the carpet that nothing would stick to it or could live in it. That's would be kind of cool, but you can't have nothing harming the water either. So I'm not a chemist, so I don't know where you would go with that, but
yeah, that's fascinating. Isn't that part of the clearing of the water too? Isn't that something zebra mussels do, is clear the water? Yeah. And
what really helped Lake Winnebago, it's all sewered now. There is nobody on Lake Winnebago that has a septic system. That's how it leached into the lake. That's where the blue-green algae came from. Plus the farmers' runoffs too. Well, now the farming techniques are so much better, they don't have to worry about that kind of stuff either. Yeah. So the lake did clean up.
Yeah, that makes sense. Blue-green algae can be nasty too.
It'll kill dogs and if they're in the water.
Yep.
So
yeah. I never read too much into that, but that makes a ton of sense. Septic systems on the lake. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nice. So are they now they're naturally reproducing and maybe not thriving?
It's hard to say because we don't have anything that kind of figure that out.
Right.
What they have been doing, I don't know if they're doing it anymore, but doing a creel census. That's where a person stays on shore. When you come in, they ask you what you caught, where you caught it, how many you caught, all that kind of stuff. That's a good way to figure out what's out there or not out there.
Mm-hmm.
And they also try to figure out time-wise. You're spending, I think, what was it, 4 hours to catch one walleye out there nowadays? That's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So
that's where they're at.
Yeah.
Dang.
I know. But
that's a fascinating job. I think there's probably, if there's parallel universes, there's another one where I'm a fish biologist figuring out like how to manage biodiversity in bottles of water, bodies of water. I think that's fascinating, man.
Yeah, I did the walleye shocking up on the Wolf River. That's fun. I've seen a lot of big fish up there. Like, oh my God, this fish is in our system. That's cool.
Yeah,
I'm looking at that could be a Lake Erie walleye right there. You know,
yeah.
So, but that's a workout for your shoulders. Hoisting up and put. It's a long day out there. If you get a lot of fish.
Yeah.
So,
man. Ooh, somebody's got a saw running or something.
Hey, knock it off. All right, there.
So, is that where what's your personal best? Is it from Erie?
Yes, and beta knocked. 12-pounders, 32 inches.
Yeah.
So
32.
Yep, they're both pitchers and throwbacks. I got 3 on the wall. I got my first 7-pound walleye up at Eagle River on Voyager Lake.
Oh, in an inland lake, that's a tank, yeah.
And I got an 8-pounder off a dock on Winnebago. 3 feet of water fishing at night, 8 pounds. So
off a dock?
Yep.
Nice.
And then I got my first 10-pounder up at Chambers Island in a tournament. I took 5th place with 1 fish. And it was big fish of the day, too. So that was on the wall. So I don't mount fish anymore. I just take pictures of them, and that's all we do.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
throw the big ones back and eat the eaters.
Yeah, you know, I got a 34-pound, 49-inch muskie on my wall. I caught that at 41 Bridge back in 1985. Well, back then they didn't have replicas.
Yeah.
So I kept it because that's the biggest fish I ever caught in my life, you know, in a 14-foot boat, a broken net. My dad helped land it for me. And it was October 25th. I don't know why it's stuck in my head. It's like my marriage, I guess. Never forget your anniversary, trust me. So
sounds like spoken from a man from experience.
Yeah, 38 years already. So I took it to my friend. He was a taxidermist, and when he cleaned it, he found a 17-inch walleye in its stomach, plus 3 other smaller fish. But you got to remember, October and November are great times for big muskies because they're putting on the feed bag. And this thing wanted a 1/4-ounce jig with a minnow. Must have been an hors d'oeuvre or something. I don't get it. But
so you weren't even muskie fishing?
No, walleye fishing underneath the 41 Bridge. There's a lot. I've got. I had a muskie 2 weeks ago. I took out some Boys and Girls Club kids, and the kid caught a 36-inch muskie. I says, there's a lot of guys, grown men, that can't even catch this fish, and you caught one.
Yeah.
So he's got a big old smile on his face, and I held it up for the other kids so they got pictures in front of it, and then we released it then.
Yeah.
So, but I tell you, taking out kids is just a ball. Last year it was so hot out, one of the girls, she climbed in my live well with the sheep bed that we're keeping. She says, I like this. This is fun. So I do Josie's Gift, which is a great thing. It's kind of a terminally ill kids we take out fishing. And I got this girl, Haley. This will be the 3rd time she's with me. I got her mother staying with us also for a weekend. So last year we did back-to-back tournaments. That was fun. So we're doing it again this year also.
You did the tournaments with Haley?
Yes.
Nice.
So the first one's Josie's Gift, and the second one is for Tomorrow's Anglers. That's what I'm involved with. So like I said, it's fun taking out these kids fishing. They've never been fishing before. You know, if we can get them to catch a sheephead or a catfish, it's just a hoot, you know. And some of the questions they ask, you're like, wow, where did you come up with that one? You know? So then I also take out veterans too, and I just love listening to them stories those guys tell. Holy moly. And the 2 guys, I taught them how to shiver with shivering minnows. And 3 days later, he calls me up. He says, hey, we want to thank you again. I says, for what? He says, we're in the Bay of Green Bay shivering, and we're catching big fish. I thought, okay, good. I taught them something. And they tried to give me gas money. I says, no, I don't take gas money because for what you guys did years ago, I'm more than happy to take you out fishing.
Yeah. What's Tomorrow's Anglers?
Tomorrow's Anglers is put on by Skipper Buds down in Oshkosh. Mercury Marine's a big part of it, and they get a bunch of big sponsors. These kids get like $200 worth of stuff. A life jacket, a tackle box full of stuff, a rod and reel, all that kind of stuff. So it's kids that really haven't fished ever, and we get to take them out and do it. It's a fun day. They get breakfast, they get a lunch when they get back, they get awards, all that kind of stuff. So kind of like show them this is what a pro fisherman does, and that's what we're doing with them.
Mm-hmm. That's an important thing, man, that exposure, because I mean, we hear it all the time about like declining license sales and stuff year over year. And I think a lot of that comes from like when there's a break in the chain of access, right? Like most of us got into outdoor activities because our dads were in outdoor activities, right?
Yep.
And if there happens to be a break in that chain, then how does it's intimidating to start for someone in a lot of times.
We're calling it planting the seed.
Yeah.
Or planting seeds is what we're trying to do.
For sure. Yep. Yeah. That's an important thing. And I think just as a society, we could use more of that, right? Outside nature, like understanding, what's out there for us.
Yeah, instead of watching the kids on TV or something, video games, that kind of stuff. Well, now we got guys playing videos on their boats now. Live scope.
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about that a little bit, because that's changed fishing completely. What do you, I know there's some pretty polarizing thoughts, man, and you don't have to get into it, but what do you think?
Well, I can't cough up the $3,000, $4,000, whatever that is.
It's expensive, yeah.
To have my head in that box all day long, looking for 4 or 5 bites. Some people got it down to a T. They know it's a science to them. They like doing it, but I'm a troller. I just like to put out 6 lines and go trolling and all that. But some guys are saying, yeah, the live scope will work for trolling, because then you can pan around and scan and see, okay, is that fish off 2 feet off bottom, or is he 3 feet off bottom versus what you're looking on your sonar and all that kind of stuff. It does have advantages and disadvantages, but for me to fish in tournaments now, big ones, and don't have it, that's a disadvantage for me. So either I pony up and get it and learn it, or just don't do it anymore. Mm-hmm. I heard they're banning it on muskie tournaments now, because they can target big fish quick.
Yeah. Something like, I never even thought of that. Something like that, man, that would really change how you fish muskie.
Yep. And then the other one is for sturgeon spearing. Guys are using it to see the fish way out there. They have the fish come in. Now they're using underwater cameras to see the fish when you can't see bottom. That to me is called blind spearing. I don't use that kind of system. I physically want to see that fish before I even want to throw at it, because I do not want to jeopardize that fish and hurting them or getting off. I guess you can call it cheating if you want to call it that. I guess I'm old school. If you like that technology, have at it. You got a big screen TV and you're and watching that all day long. That's fine. That's your preference, I guess, until they shut it down. So
yeah.
It's just like the old days where you could actually jig in your ice shanty. They can't do that anymore. You can't use lights anymore. Everything that's been banned has been done by people, and that's why they banned it. They don't want that extra advantage.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean jigging the ice shanty?
Well, when you're fishing or when you're sturgeon spearing, you used to could jig in for walleyes or wave bass and that kind of stuff, Yeah. But no, they took that out because they found out guys were snagging their sturgeons. Then bringing them up, then spearing them.
Sure. Yeah, then stick it in.
Yeah. To me, I'm not that hard up for fish. It is what it is. And when you really think about it, those fish are very, very old. It's a prehistoric thing. And we've had a lot of people say, well, that's illegal and all that. We have the best population of lake sturgeon in this area, thanks to the DNR and Sturgeons for Tomorrow people watching the banks when they're up there spawning, so nobody's up there poaching, that kind of stuff. Kudos to all those people for doing that, People do care about our system here, so we have to manage it properly.
Yeah, that's the easiest argument in the world almost all the time, right? It's the people who use the resource and interact with the resource that maintain the resource and conserve the resource. Right. Hunters take care of what they hunt, right? Yeah. Fishermen take care of what they fish. And, you hear that come up once in a while, but it's easy to dispel, right? Like, we do more for giving back to conserving natural lands. And I mean, just think about you were talking about biodiversity earlier, making sure saugers are in the lake and stuff. Like, Yeah, that argument very rarely holds any weight, you know.
And everybody says, how many fish you got in your freezer? I do not keep fish from Lake Winnebago or the Bay of Green Bay since I have all these fish from Lake Erie. I only kept 40 fish from Lake Erie. The only reason I did that is I have a class reunion this weekend at my house. It's our 45th class reunion, and I'm going to put on a Wisconsin fish fry on Friday for them. Nice. And that's the only reason I kept those fish.
You're hosting the 45-year reunion at your house?
My third time. They always want to come back to my house. So I don't get it, but whatever. I have a great party barn.
I was going to say, I think that means you're a good host.
Something like that.
I think that.
My daughter, she's into party planning and all that. It's called Whimsical Celebration. So she's been busting her butt out there. Thanks to my wife, Kathy. She's been helping me a lot getting preparations for it. So thanks to those two women. I love you and I appreciate what you're doing.
Got to surround yourself with good people.
Yes.
Yeah. Your inner circle and outside of that, you got to. Well, you just had Ed over too. Did you dive with Ed? Did you get in the water?
No, I did the shoreline pickup.
Yep.
Then when he was out in the water, kind of watched for other people that they wouldn't get next to him. Most people do not know what a dive flag is. It's just like, what's that in the water? They want to come closer. Well, you don't do that. Mm-hmm. So it was nice to have Ed, his girlfriend Chrissy there. Great people. He has a heart of gold. He's doing everybody a favor for what he's doing. So if you can help pledge to him, because it takes money to move around in a truck to get to where he's got to go and spend time on dive gear, air for the air tanks, all that kind of stuff. I actually had some signs made up for him for Ed the Diver's been here, that kind of stuff. So I got to give those to Chrissy today. But super nice guy. He's cleaning up the waterways. Less snags for me and less losing lures, but bad for him.
Yeah. Oh, isn't it wild? Some of the wads of lures he pulls up.
Yep. It's just, this things that gathered over the years, especially in high water. High water brings logs down. They get waterlogged, they sink, and also now you're snagging and they get more line. It just keeps building. What happens. So, but it was funny. Last year he pulled out 28 anchors up into pier. 28 of them. Like, holy moly. I can't believe that boat even floated. All that weight in it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, the stuff he finds is just wild. Mm-hmm. Just wild. Such an interesting concept. Kind of similar along your story. He just started because he's passionate about cleaning up the waterways, and then the next thing you know, people like watching. Yep.
They're always like, okay, what's he going to see next? Or, there's a sturgeon, or there's a walleye there, and all that kind of stuff. It's interesting to see it, but to me, it's like firefighting. You're going down there and you can't see your hand in front of your face sometimes. He tries not to try doing that because that's a safety hazard for him also. Yeah. Which I agree with, so.
Yeah. Mucky water around here in some places.
Yeah. Well, I told him when he says, well, you're picking June, you're getting really close to the borderline and not seeing too much clarity out here. But when we did up at Kimberly Point and Nina there, he had good visibility, and I think he found couple dozen jigs and a couple lures. Yeah. So that was good.
Probably like
and he saved the bass. And he saved a bass. A bass was hung up on a rock, and he pulled on the line. All of a sudden it started swimming between his legs, and he pulls it up and it was still hooked.
Really?
So he unhooked the bass to free it.
No way. So he did that with a walleye too. Did you see the walleye a few months back? No. Yeah, he was same thing, I think, if I remember right. I'm pretty sure it was hooked and then stuck under like a rock or something, if I remember right. And just unhooked it and off it goes.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I appreciate you coming and chatting, man. Your story's cool. And what's next for Coot Lures? You got a million ideas in your head, just waiting for which one to do, or
not quite yet, I guess. It all depends on what situation I'm in and what I'm looking at or using. That's how I tweak things, I guess. That's how I've been doing things, but I don't know, just enjoying life every day, fishing as much as I can. We got some things going on in July, like the veterans, the kids outings, that kind of stuff coming up. I got another veterans one in August up in Oconto, so that's a fun one also. Hopefully the fish will be biting.
Yeah.
So, with all those edelweiss up there, but they're moving out now.
Yeah, that's where I grew up. I grew up in Oconto. We used to, my dad's a member of the Sportsman's Club there, and when the walleye tournaments would come, I remember when I was younger, like shooting them down the big chute back out in the lake and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
It's all CPR.
Yeah.
Catch, photograph, release. That's the best system. We just used it again Sunday for our Sheboygan Walleye Club.
Yep.
Our club's been doing it, I think, like 6-7 years now.
Yeah.
It is so nice. You don't have to worry about fishing a boat. You know they're going to be fresh and lively when you release them right where you caught it, that kind of stuff. So
yep.
We really like it.
Yeah. It's a no-brainer. This was probably, 8 years ago now or so. We did a couple kayak fishing tournaments up north and did the same thing. And it regulates it some too, in a way, because then like everything's controlled. It's so much less stress on the fish. And then, because you see the wild stuff, like the classic, like the weights and fish video, you see all this,
Yeah. Those two guys still don't get it. They caught one of them last year poaching deer now.
Like one of the same guys?
Yeah. I like, come on, really, dude?
Really?
Yep. I thought, apparently they don't get it. Just don't get it. But,
wow. I didn't read that story.
Yeah. And the thing is with Lake Erie, those tournaments are kill tournaments They have so many walleyes in it. Like they're estimating over 100 million. They need to get rid of the big fish because they're like piranhas. They eat everything. Well, those big fish got to eat. And if you don't have nothing to eat, they're going to die anyway. So they want you to keep them. And that's where I get chastised for keeping all these big fish. Oh, that's a spawner. You got to let that go. I says, trust me, look up the DNR. They want you to keep these fish, And Lake Erie is 60 miles wide by 245 miles long. You look at every tributary that's in that area. Oh, my God, they got everywhere and anywhere to spawn. It's nuts. That's why there's so many out there. And they said the last 4 out of the 5 years have been ultimate hatches. Well, the next 10 years is going to look pretty good if I'm still alive. Yeah. My wife says I can't go back for 6 weeks again next year. I said, honey, but I'm having fun. You can go for 2 maybe. Oh, gosh, whatever.
Hey, man, we all got to toe the line at times.
Yeah, I said, maybe I should call in sick, tell them I got anal glaucoma. Can't see my ass coming in today.
Well, thanks for coming in, Coot.
Sure.
I appreciate chatting with you, man. It was fun.